Look at your fingernails. They are smooth and short. Your body builds them out of hard protein, pushing them out of your fingertips 3.5 millimeters every month. Every year, your body generates 1.5 inches of dead tissue on the end of every finger. If you stop trimming them for a month, they grow past the edge of your flesh, snagging on clothes and cracking. Strip away your modern house, plastic nail files, and steel clippers, and imagine standing in a forest 40,000 years ago. You hold a wooden spear, waiting for a wild boar in cold rain. Your life depends on your ability to grip that spear and launch it with precision. 3 days ago, while digging for edible roots in stony ground, your thumbnail cracked. A jagged split ran toward the base of the nail. As you tighten your grip, the wood catches that ragged edge. The nail pulls back, tearing into the living flesh underneath. Pain shoots up your forearm as blood leaks into the dirt. Without antibiotics, that small tear lets soil bacteria into the body. Within 2 days, your thumb swells to twice its size, throbbing with pus. You can no longer pinch 2 stones together to make fire, pull a bowstring, or hold a weapon to defend your children. Losing the use of your hands means you stop eating. A torn fingernail led to infection, disability, and death. Every other mammal on the savannah had claws. Claws are curved, narrow weapons made for digging burrows, tearing through hides, or gripping tree bark. Around 50 million years ago, early tree-dwelling animals adapted to life in the canopy. They needed to grasp thin branches, pick fruit, and handle small objects. Evolution flattened those claws into flat plates of hard protein, forming fingernails. Look at the pad of your index finger. Beneath that soft skin sits a network of thousands of nerve endings that allow you to feel fine textures. Soft skin alone cannot pinch or press against an object. If you press your fingertip against a table, you can feel what the nail does. The hard plate on the back of your finger provides support. When your finger pad presses against a stone or wood, the skin flattens against the nail, creating counterpressure. That counterpressure gives you a grip. Without fingernails, your fingertips would collapse under pressure, preventing you from pinching a stone flake, tying a leather cord, or plucking small seeds. This trait came with a biological downside. Claws grow slowly and wear down through digging. Human fingernails grow continuously throughout your life. Unattended fingernails curve, thicken, split, and break off in sharp shreds. For a long time, researchers assumed ancient humans didn't need to cut their nails. The theory was that living a primitive lifestyle would naturally grind nails down to the quick. If you dig in coarse gravel for tubers, scrape animal fat off hides with stones, and haul firewood every day, friction against stone, soil, and wood wears away dead protein. If you work in a garden with bare hands for 6 hours, the edges of your nails grind down, clogged with dirt and worn by sand. Natural wear wears nails down unevenly. Friction leaves an uneven edge. Digging through dirt grinds away the middle of the nail while leaving the corners sharp. Pushing heavy stones splits the brittle protein along its grain, creating small cracks that run toward the base of the finger. Once a crack forms, every action makes it worse. Pulling on a heavy branch catches that crack and splits the nail further. If an ancient hunter relied entirely on natural wear, their fingertips would suffer from jagged edges and painful tears. Every time that crack pulled into the quick, bacteria entered, leading to an infected hand that could not hold a spear or make fire. To survive, our ancestors could not wait for rocks to grind their nails down by accident. They had to control their hand care. The first tool ancient humans used is one you have used yourself, their own teeth. When you feel a ragged edge on your fingernail, your brain triggers an urge to bring that finger to your mouth and bite the snag off. That ancient behavioral reflex kept human hands functional for hundreds of thousands of years. Your teeth are covered in tooth enamel, the hardest substance in the human body. Your molars exert hundreds of pounds of pressure, and your sharp front teeth cut hard protein. Trimming a nail with teeth without tearing the skin requires technique. An ancient human used front incisors to nick the side of the nail plate, creating a notch at the length they wanted. Once that notch was cut, they used their teeth or opposite fingers to peel the strip of nail across the top of the fingertip, shearing it off. If you have tried this, you know how easily it goes wrong. Peeling the strip too fast or at the wrong angle sends the tear down into the living flesh of the quick. The pain is instant. Blood wells up. In a primitive camp filled with mud, ash, and animal remains, putting a bleeding finger into your mouth or dragging it through dirt introduces bacteria into your tissue. Biting worked for emergency fixes when a snag caught on a tool, but as a long-term strategy, it carried too much risk. One bad peel could render a thumb useless for weeks, leaving you unable to defend yourself or gather food. To smooth out a jagged edge without risking a tear, ancient humans turned to stone. Long before steel clippers or emery boards existed, our ancestors invented the original nail file, coarse stones. Imagine holding a piece of coarse sandstone or granite in your hand. Sandstone is made of hard mineral grains cemented together. When you rub hard protein against sandstone, those sharp grains shave off particles of dead nail with every stroke. Archaeologists studying stone tools from 30,000 years ago find palm-sized pebbles with narrow grooves carved into their surfaces. When an ancient human noticed a split forming on a nail, they rubbed the edge of the finger back and forth inside one of these stone grooves. Friction filed down the brittle protein, rounding sharp corners that caught on plant fibers or animal hides. Filing with stone was safer than biting, allowing control over the shape of the nail. By keeping the nail short and rounded behind the pad of the finger, our ancestors prevented it from breaking when hammering stone or scraping bone. You can test this yourself. A rounded nail edge slides off rough surfaces, while a square edge catches, bends, and tears. By using coarse stone to round their nails daily, ancient humans protected their hands. While coarse stone filed and shaped the nail, it was slow. When nails grew too long or thick, ancient humans needed a way to shear through dense protein. For that, they used obsidian and flint flakes. Obsidian is volcanic glass. When struck by a toolmaker, an obsidian core fractures along smooth surfaces, creating flakes with edges that act as microscopic blades. A fresh obsidian flake is sharper than a surgical scalpel, tapering down to an edge a few molecules thick. Flint and chert rock produce durable stone blades capable of slicing through tough materials. Archaeological sites across Africa, Europe, and the Americas contain thousands of small stone tools. For decades, researchers assumed these were arrow barbs or scrapers for animal hides. Microscopic wear analysis on these tools shows polish from cutting animal horn, hooves, and human nails. To cut nails with sharp volcanic glass without cutting their skin, ancient humans used specific angles. They placed the edge of the obsidian flake flat against the top surface of the nail near the free edge, using the hard nail plate as support. By applying light pressure and scraping away from the hand, the stone blade shaved off layers of protein. Alternatively, they held the stone flake stationary between the thumb and forefinger of one hand, pressing the nail of the opposite hand against the sharp edge to score a line across the nail. Once scored, the excess nail snapped off without tearing into the quick. This level of hand care was not about vanity. It was about biological maintenance. If an obsidian blade slipped and cut into the finger pad, the wound was small. But if an overgrown nail split during a hunt, causing a jagged tear, the entire hand could be compromised. The archaeological evidence for primitive nail care appears in human skeletal remains. Scientists studying ancient bones examine hand bones for signs of past trauma and severe infections. When a nail tear gets infected, the infection can spread from the soft tissue of the fingertip into the bone underneath, leaving permanent pitted marks on ancient skeletons. Skeletons showing bone deterioration in the fingertips show other signs of physical decline, including unhealed fractures, malnutrition, and early death. An individual who lost the use of a thumb or index finger from a neglected nail infection could no longer contribute to group survival. Think about what you use your thumbs for every day. Opening doors, holding a utensil, typing, or picking up a cup of water. Now imagine doing those actions with a thumb throbbing with severe pain every time you apply pressure. For an ancient human, an infected thumb meant you could not scrape fat off a hide for warm clothing, hold a stone hammer to make tools, or grip a child to pull them out of danger. A single split nail left uncared for threatened the survival of an entire family. Caring for fingernails was an essential daily chore, critical for survival alongside keeping a campfire lit or checking a water source for contamination. Group members helped each other using sharp stone flakes to pare down nails on dominant hands that were difficult to trim alone. Look at your hands. Touch the smooth edge of your fingernails. The steel clippers sitting in your bathroom drawer are a recent invention, patented in the late 19th century. The metal file was made possible by industrial manufacturing, but the physical need those metal tools satisfy is millions of years old. Your body functions the same as an ancestor who lived 40,000 years ago. Your nails still grow 3.5 millimeters every month, pushing forward and requiring maintenance. When you feel an urge to bite a ragged edge or run your thumb along a split nail, you feel an ancient behavioral reflex designed to protect your hands from injury. You do not have to worry that a split fingernail will lead to an infection that starves you in the forest. You live in a world of clippers, bandage strips, and modern medicine. But your hands are the same hands that survived because an ancient ancestor took a piece of rough sandstone, sat by a fire, and filed away a jagged edge before the sun went down.